LinkedIn family, hello and how you doing? I've been at the Lorries 2019 and I've been trying to give you a backstage view of what's been going on. Today, I have Abey. How you doing, Abey?
I'm very good.
Very, very good.
Very good.
Awesome, Abey.
I was commenting about
my waistcoat?
Your waistcoat, it's dope.
Thank you, man. Totally representing Africa. Africa, it's time to shine. This is one of the conversations I've been having online, is that as a continent, it's our time to get our full story told, and it starts off with you as an individual. So the African attire is ready to start off the conversation because, like you said, oh, that looks good, and I say, hey, it's African, it's South African. I tell the story from that perspective.
Love it.
Love it. So, Abey, tell us a little bit about yourself. So, what do you do in your daytime capacity?
So my day job is I look after the Vodacom brand. So I'm the managing executive for brand communications and sponsorship for Vodacom.
Okay. Yeah. Wow, we dove right into it. I maybe went in a little bit too fast. Let me just get rid of a menu that's popped up here.
Okay.
These things do happen when you're streaming live, but it is what it is. Maybe I dove too quickly into it.
Okay. What do I do before I get to work?
Yeah, man. What do you do before you get to work? What are you super passionate about?
So I'm super passionate about getting the best leadership capacity out of people. Like I believe that we all leaders.
Yeah.
In whatever field. So even someone who isn't necessarily a leader at work, they could be doing cleaning, doing the dishes, or being a driver. You may very well find that you go to their communities and they are a pastor in the church or they're a leader in their community. Yeah. So everyone has an opportunity to be a leader and show up as a leader, and I'm passionate about bringing that out in people.
How'd you go about doing that? Bringing the best out of people, bringing out their leadership qualities. How did you discover those?
So I think the most important thing in finding your own leadership capacity is understanding what drives you and what you care about. What you care about beyond your own profit.
Yeah.
Because that is a never-ending source of energy. And if you can help people identify that, all their natural instincts to do amazing things and to take risks and to be bold are fueled by something that is never ending. So that's the first step.
Yeah.
And then there's some more kind of practical things that you can help in helping people unlock their own leadership potential. Part of which is to give them the opportunities to actually showcase it.
Yeah.
Sometimes people don't even know that they're leaders until it's tried and tested.
Until they get that opportunity to lead without the title, right?
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of reverse mentorship, right? And being that I'm currently with LinkedIn and working with LinkedIn, I've just found that when I do engage with maybe, let's say, a more mature person, an older person, etc., this is a great opportunity for me to turn the roles around and start teaching them about these digital platforms and what it can do for them in the capacity where they're trying to coach, to mentor, to teach. Saying, look, here's another platform that you should explore. What are your thoughts around reverse mentorship?
Yeah, I mean, as you said it, I thought actually it's often a one-way street. We think that you have to be older and wiser to be the mentor. That's not always the case, because there are a lot of things and a perspective that young people have where we can also lead and help people that are older than us understand. I mean, there's a term that I picked up in Adam Morgan's book, Eating the Big Fish.
Eating the Big Fish, yeah. There's a book recommendation for you folks.
Yeah, Eating the Big Fish. And he speaks about intelligent naivety.
Okay.
And I've always, for some reason, I've just always been one of the younger people in whatever kind of group I'm in within the work environment. And just to help myself feel better, I used to say, I have a different perspective to everyone else in the room. I may not know how to apply it based on the rules and the processes and the systems that are in place. But I really took onto that term that you can apply yourself intelligently, even if you are naive about certain situations. And in fact, sometimes the very best solutions come from people that had no context of the industry in which they're operating. The famous one is Virgin Atlantic.
Right.
Richard Branson was the individual that brought on-board entertainment into planes because he had an entertainment background.
Right.
But the guys running the airline industry at that point in time could never even conceive that that is something that they could potentially do. And it took someone who was completely naive, who applied himself intelligently to be able to do that. And I think young people can do that in many different facets of their life.
True. And I've seen also, I work with a lot of recruiters, hiring managers, etc., that diversity is one of the things they're looking for. So we're a bank, but we're willing to hire artists. We're a bank, we're willing to hire engineers, so that we get closer to the marketplace.
There's lots of that happening. I mean, especially in industries that are interconnected. Telco, where I work at the moment, is really exploring new and different avenues of generating revenue and building connections. We are typically an everything industry, so everything comes through us in some form or other.
Right.
So it really pays to be able to go and find people that will help your workforce be diverse. But it's difficult, hey? It's not an easy thing.
Right.
And if you aren't deliberate about protecting those individuals that are coming in with a different perspective, you're just going to recycle the same thing. A lot of companies have their own immune system, and the bigger and the more successful a company is, the stronger its immune system.
That's it.
So you need to be quite deliberate about being able to do that.
Okay, and that whole story about being deliberate, I guess, starts from the top, right? It starts from a leadership perspective.
Yeah.
What are some of the ways that you've found selling to the leadership and getting the rest of your leadership peers engaged on this new age thinking? What works?
I find contact with the customer really helps, because no one at any level ever knows enough about the customers that you're serving. You never know enough. You're never with them long enough. You never research them enough. You never walk their shoes enough.
Right.
So I find that is something that really is the great leveler. Is I know that you are the boss, and you know everything about this business and this industry.
Right.
But just take 5 minutes to understand how this guy lives. And his life circumstance, because most leaders, because they're removed from the coalface, know about that world less and less. So I often find that is a great leveler, is really insight and empathy with the people that you're serving. And once you give any person in any level in an organization that perspective, you all of a sudden become a lot less clever, and you become much more insightful, and you become a listener. You do less talking, and you do much more listening. Less kind of structuring how things are going to go, and much more just appreciating the things that you don't really know. So I find that helps.
That helps, definitely. And I just find that you touched on that whole concept of listening. And we often take it for granted. And one of the things that I've been trying to coach people is listening with your eyes. Just sit back, observe human behavior, observe, people watch. And then you'll see when people are being at their most sincerest or when they're not. But you've been here at the Lorries. Let's get back to that.
Okay.
I love the conversation was just going too well. Got a little distracted there, but you've been here at the Lorries, and you've been here running a masterclass on purpose.
Yes.
What is purpose? When we're thinking as a company, what is purpose?
Purpose is the reason you do things. It is the very essence of the why. It is the why you do things. In Simon Sinek's book, he speaks about good companies know what they do in terms of what they produce. Better companies know how they do it. So you have companies that came up with processes and systems like Six Sigma, for example.
That's right.
But the very best companies in the world know the why. And the why is the purpose. And if you're able as an organization to understand your why, you're able to galvanize everything that you do around that. And in a hyper-competitive environment, that is a major arsenal in your business, to be a weapon in your arsenal to be able to compete effectively.
And then getting the employees to gravitate around this purpose. How do you do that in a practical sense, right? So it's one thing for us to have our vision, our mission, our purpose statement out in the hallways and everybody sees it, but how do we bring it to life?
I think this is a celebration of creative excellence and the ability to use creativity to advance and drive commercial results.
Yeah.
And in the talk, I was actually talking to that from a marketing perspective, the marketing professionals had really three big opportunities to have influence.
Okay.
The first one was its ability to maximize mass media, because they were producing content for mass media.
That's right.
Often the difference between a company's net asset value and its capital worth on the stock market is really attributed to goodwill and brand. So
That's right.
The industry had an amazing time filling that void and creating that value.
Right.
The second opportunity was digital marketing, which is what we're engaging on now. But the marketers were the first people in there.
Yeah.
We were the first to understand how it works
Yeah.
and how to apply it for commercial gain.
That's right.
To understand how to apply it to connect with our customers. And now that's getting a bit murky because more and more of other industries are kind of in that space.
Right.
Purpose is a really amazing Trojan horse for marketers to be able to get to the core of a business.
Yeah.
Because for purpose to work effectively, you need to communicate something authentically, with meaning that you need to mean what you say.
Yeah.
And the only way you mean what you say as an organization is for it to be baked into the source code of what you do. And your question was, how do we get staff to be galvanized
Yeah,
around that? I
yeah.
think the first step is helping them understand that what we say and what we do can no longer be two different things.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
need to be very clear to staff and help them understand what it is they say.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
it is that we believe in and what's our mission in life.
Right.
Once they get that piece, the communication is the most important, and an understanding of that is most important.
Right.
And often, because organizations are large and you're dealing with different types of stakeholders, each of them have to be engaged in a different way
Yeah.
to land that particular message.
That's
so
right.
once that's done, then I think the next step is about saying, okay, whatever level you are in the organization, how do you think in your role on a daily basis you could add to this mission?
Yeah.
Because we all do.
Yeah.
Right? Whether you are,
Leading
cleaning the
a
offices
team
or
or-
leading a team or the
That's
CEO,
right.
you all have a different role.
That's right.
And let them co-create with you around how they think they could add to and advance this mission. And then-
Innovation then plays a big role in that, right? And bringing that to life.
Yeah, it's innovation is definitely one of the outputs of it, but anything can advance the cause as long as you understand it. So typically we just think about procurement as an example.
Right.
Procurement is driven to drive costs down
Yeah.
and to
Yeah.
increase the bottom line. That's their core task.
Right.
So if your purpose as an organization is to empower society, it's almost counterintuitive with procurement, because procurement is going to go out there and say, if I want to get something as cheap as possible,
Right.
I'm going to go to the biggest supplier
Right.
that's got the best supply chain, that's going to
Best
give me the
line of
lowest cost,
credit.
best line of credit. I can
Right.
pay them in 180 days,
Right.
and they're not going to blink.
Right.
You can't do that if you're paying small suppliers.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
literally living hand to mouth.
That's right.
So if procurement understands that that's their mission, they will then come up with innovative ways to change some of their processes and systems to maybe bring a collective of small suppliers together.
That's right.
That they can then treat as a larger organization. They can help them facilitate buying goods and services at a good price to bring down their costs. So that is, across any function within the business, there are opportunities to manifest your purpose. But it's so vast that you cannot have one person who's writing the rule book who's going to understand how it manifests.
Yeah.
It manifests in even the tiniest corners in the business, and that's what you want to do. And once you've communicated and you've workshopped with people around how to live that, you then need to celebrate it.
Yeah.
And celebrate excellence in achieving that purpose, and that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
The more that people see that works, and the more it's celebrated, the more they'll come up with ideas and ways and means to achieve your purpose. And I think the structure
Yeah.
is very simple.
Okay.
Implementing it is much more difficult.
Much more difficult.
Because it's a journey. So I think most companies, I'm hoping, don't run out of the patience that they need to actually do these things. I mean, if you've got a really good purpose, the purpose itself is enduring. It will live much beyond anyone who works in that organization. So you want something that's going to be sustainable in the long term, in which case the mission will build on itself year after year.
Year after year, etc. And you continue to monitor it, you continue to evaluate it, and you continue to change it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
because
it's a good way.
you know, as we achieve certain things, and you said we celebrate
You can
it,
course correct.
we
Yeah.
course correct, and then move on to the next area. I love that.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that you're being deliberate about assisting SMEs as you take on this journey. So it's
Yeah.
very easy as a large enterprise to only want to partner with other large enterprises
Yeah.
and do business that way, but being creative and saying, how do we grow this ecosystem? Because these are our customers. Right?
These are your customers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as much as they're your customers, these are future talent for your business. So
Yeah, absolutely. I think people in this day and age, there is an awareness, a much greater awareness than there ever has been in the past. And maybe it's
That's
aided
right.
by social media, the platform that
Digital,
we're on right
etc.
now.
Right, right.
The digital platforms we're on right now. Companies are much more transparent. So the product that I buy becomes one of the elements of a total value proposition that the company gives me. And I want to see in the value chain what this company did. How did this product get to me? Do they treat people fairly?
Yeah.
Are they making money in the right way? Are they investing? Do they care?
yeah.
And on that basis, I'll make my choice around which brand I'm going to support. And that support happens not only as a customer, but also as an employee, as an investor. So it's becoming really important to clarify what that purpose is, so that it can be a beacon of hope and light for your own organization.
Yeah, yeah, and that your people will champion this as they go out into the world, because one of the maybe the ironies of life is that, or at least the realities of life is that as much as you're an employee today, tomorrow you could be a service provider to us, a stakeholder, etc. So we want you to live that as you go out into the open world.
Yeah, I mean, we all play different roles for different companies, right? So
That's right.
I was asked the question in the masterclass around, can a company get away with doing good and living in purpose, but not communicate it? Does it matter?
Yeah.
And I said, look, in the past, you could do that. In the past, companies, because there was so much opportunity, you could kind of fumble along and still make profit and still grow shareholder value.
That's right.
Now we are in a hyper-competitive world.
That's right. And
markets
a
are shrinking.
one, yeah.
A transparent and a hyper-competitive world, which means that you need to be completely on sync. It's no longer, there's parity in terms of price, there's parity in terms of distribution, there's parity in terms of investment.
That's right.
The only thing you have now as a competitive advantage is how strong the link and the connection is between you and your customers. And purpose is one of the key enablers of that connection.
Yeah.
So I think it's not going to be sustainable to not have a very clearly defined and understood purpose within your organization going forward. You need it.
You need it. And how do you safeguard yourself from an authenticity perspective, right? How do we make sure that what we're doing to help society, what we're doing to live our purpose, is still authentic and is not just above the line marketing in a different way?
Yeah, I think being very clear about what your purpose is important, because if you're clear about what your mission and your purpose is, what happens is that it becomes an unwritten constitution within your organization.
Okay.
So you are all of a sudden able to speak truth to power.
Right.
Which is, and you're empowered to speak truth to power because you know what the mission is.
Right.
In the past, you couldn't really do that because on what basis are you challenging what decision your boss is making?
Yeah.
When you have a well understood mission as an organization, it becomes much more difficult to hide from that and from the self-governing ability of that system. So I think that's a lot of companies have realized that actually what you're doing is you create the system of evaluation that becomes your guardrails to keep you on track. That's how you ensure authenticity.
That's how you make sure that it's authentic.
Yeah.
You talked about, so a lot of the audience that we have on LinkedIn, again, are just beginning their careers.
Yep.
They are going to look up your profile on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And it's a glowing profile.
Thank you.
You've had a really amazing career, and again, really leadership driven. The question, I guess, that would come out is, how did you get to be who you are?
Wow.
Besides thanking your parents first for the education, right?
It goes way back.
Right.
You know, I think I've been extremely lucky in my life, and I've been in positions in my life where I've lost everything that I thought I had.
Yeah.
I've had nothing.
Yeah.
I've had what I thought was everything, and it all disappeared, and I went to zero.
Right.
And that experience really humbled me, and it allowed me to have incredible gratitude for anything that comes through my life. Everything
Right.
is a guest in your life.
That's
the
it.
good and the bad.
Okay.
And everything happens for a reason.
Okay.
And everything that happens to you shall pass. And that, I think, is what really is what's made me me, is just being humbled by life.
Yeah.
And, you know, being able to embrace anything that happens in my life as a lesson, as a learning.
Yeah.
The good times I'm really grateful for, and the bad times I am too, because there's lessons in that.
There's lessons in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can always find a silver lining in just about every single situation. It's a question of your attitude when it happens.
It's your attitude, you know. And I mean, I have a 9-year-old son.
Yeah.
And that's always a good motivator.
Yeah.
Because I try and live the kind of life that I hope he is able to learn from and reference.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that by the career choices I made or the religious choices I make.
Yeah.
What I try and teach him is the best person you can be is yourself. Like, there's no other better person in the world at being you than being you. And
you being you, yeah, that's right.
You're a gift to the world.
Yeah.
And hard work and perseverance is going to make sure that you can excel at whatever it is you bring.
Yeah.
So work hard at finding out what it is you bring.
Yeah.
And then just, you know, go as hard as you can, because no one can ever be better than you at that particular thing. And if you don't do that, it's a shame.
You end up living somebody else's agenda,
living
right?
somebody else's life. So yeah, so I think it's the humbling experience that have happened in my life has made me who I am.
Yeah.
And just wanting to set a really good example for the people around me.
Super. And if you are an example to the people that are online and are following this, and they've had a look at your profile and seen the positions you've risen to, what are the sort of, if I move away from the soft skills and I start thinking of hard skills, that you're seeing are in demand, or that would make a great leader in terms of managing a brand for a large organization as you have? What are some of those skills that you would say, guys, embrace this, jump on it, start learning, start growing?
Okay, so you're talking really now about technical skills.
Technical skills,
yeah,
and
I think having basic commercial understanding. So
business acumen,
just like the basic business acumen. I mean, business changes so often that it's really difficult for institutions to keep up, actually, educational institutions. So I just think, understand how things work, and understand the basic commercial engines that are driving the world. So for me, I find that reading and the internet is an amazing source, treasure trove of information.
That's right.
So, you know, use that, understand what it is you want to learn about, and then just go out there and make sure that you follow the people. We've got all the most amazing people that you admire are sharing their pearls of wisdom every single day.
All the time, right? So you get them on Twitter, you're getting them on LinkedIn, you're getting them on YouTube and other platforms.
Yeah,
So
it's really, that's how you should engage. I mean, I find that the flip side of the internet is that it's made us what I would call kind of, you know, bite-sized consumers of information.
That's right.
I would really encourage people to read
a
real
guys,
book,
read, yeah,
and articles, and actually get into the depth behind the headline. It's like, just people don't, you know, the majority of people just don't read. We just we just don't do that. It's like life is too hectic and too busy. Choose any subject, and if you read 10 books on that subject, you'll probably know more than 90% of the people that are in that particular industry. And that's just 10 books.
That's just 10 books.
That's just 10 books.
Wow.
So
Abby, high five for that, man. So my dad was a bookseller, and I've been trying so I grew up around books. In fact, from a volunteer perspective, I love reading to children. Got small kids myself. But I love the engagement, and the imagination just comes to life when you read to them. And I've been trying to say the same thing to adults, is like, guys, we don't read enough.
People don't read enough.
We don't read enough. You heard it live. It's not just
scary.
me saying it. Thank you, Abby, for pointing that out. Yeah. The more you read, the more you grow.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I always think about reading as like someone takes the 10 years of experience they've got, and they have to try and distill it into something you can read in a week.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, it's an incredible amount of value.
Yeah.
I mean, my son is, he's into electronic media.
Yeah.
Like most kids.
Like most kids,
so, one of the things I try to do is I make him pay for his screen time with reading.
I love that.
Or giving me information about something that I don't know about. So he'll go and research how planes work.
Right.
And you'll come back and you'll tell me this is how it works, and then okay, fine. Then you've just bought yourself an hour.
You just bought yourself
so
a
it's
TV
it's
time.
a trade-off.
I love that. So we're not only getting leadership advice, we're also getting parenting advice. I see that people on the stream, are there any questions you have for Abey? He's managing the Vodacom brand, which is a big responsibility, as we said, and really he's been running a masterclass around purpose as an organization, but there are other branding questions you might have. I'll take your questions and I'll pass them on. And I love this. We just had a comment here that says, readers are leaders.
Oh wow, okay, I'll remember that.
Yeah?
Readers are leaders. Yeah.
All right, so, and there's another question coming up here asking about the lorries and when the winners will be announced.
So it's tomorrow, there's a ceremony tomorrow night, and there's also one on Saturday.
Okay, so ceremony tomorrow night and one on Saturday.
Yeah.
So
I think the finalists are published already.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Not giving it away, are you?
No. I don't know any of the winners yet. I'll find out when everybody else does.
Okay, super. When we again, I just want to revert back to the whole leadership thing and talk about leaders that are needed in this new age. Yeah. What are the soft skills that you think leaders need to have? And I think you spoke about empathy, for example.
Yeah.
What other skills would make a great leader in this new generation, in this new time where things are transparent?
I think we need a lot more feminine energy in leadership.
I love that. It's Women's Month. I see ladies in the room that are clapping.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't say that because it's Women's Month in South Africa. We live in a much more connected world than ever before.
Right.
We live in a world where there are many differing opinions, lifestyles, and the world is changing so rapidly that what the female energy is able to do is it's able to empathize, and it's able to create collaboration and connection much more so than the male energy is able to do. And I believe that both sexes have got male and female energy within them. I just think we need to elevate the female energy in leadership and listen more, be open to collaboration, be open to learning. I've been very surprised, in my view, at the kind of the pendulum shift that's happened in some of the global political leadership. Someone like the U.S. president is president.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that is the way of the world. I don't think that is the future. I think that we just need to be, in this new connected world, we need to be much more empathetic, much more collaborative in everything that we do. And that's what I think the future leaders are going to be. People that can recognize patterns, people that can bring people together, people that can have courageous conversations, and not ego-based conversations. And that's really what I take out of it, and that's what I'm trying to learn about and become more of.
Yeah, more empathetic, more listening, more collaborative, which like you said, comes really from listening. Yeah, those listening skills. Yeah. Okay, great. I love that. There's so many life lessons here that are coming out. I see the comments on the thread. Thank you very much. If there's any specific questions you have around, of course, branding, owning a brand, telling a story. And again, I think the Africa story is not complete because
No.
there's not enough of us telling the story. And that hurts me personally, because I'm like, we have such fantastic solutions, we have such amazing talent, and we have unique situations in Africa, but we're not telling the story. What's the problem with that? Like, I'll give you a classic example. I want to look up how to make Mokgwatsane, which for those who are not from South Africa is what is it? It's a fat cook.
It's basically flour that's cooked in oil.
In oil.
And it kind of hardens on the outside. It's like it's a delicacy.
It's a delicacy. It's something you have every day in the morning as you're going to work with a cup of tea.
Yes.
If I was to jump onto YouTube, for example, how many videos of making Mokgwatsane will be done by one of our own?
Wow, that's a good question.
Yeah, if
Probably
there were 10,
very few.
If there were 10 videos, if we get to,
I'd be surprised.
I'd be surprised if we get to 2, right?
Yeah.
So we're not telling the story of the things that we've grown up around, the things that we should be owning in terms of a narrative, and the rest of the world is coming to tell that story.
Yeah.
Why are we not telling our story as Africa? What's the challenge with that?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it's probably about a belief in ourselves and not feeling confident enough that we've actually got the goods to be able to showcase around the world.
Right.
I've been very lucky in the industry that I work in. It's actually African companies that have led a lot of the innovations that have happened in telco. Vodacom invented the prepaid market. It was the first telco in the world to launch prepaid. Safaricom in Kenya with the M-Pesa platform is just the most incredibly sophisticated money transfer market in the world. And it's been able to raise the living standards of people. Safaricom's around already about 6.5% of the Kenyan GDP. And it's been able to use, it's only grown that big because it's so connected into the fabric of that society. So whenever I go around the world, I hear people talking about what Safaricom is doing with M-Pesa and how that's spreading around the world. I hear references to the fact that Vodacom was one of the organizations that completely changed the way that telco operate around the world. And we need more of that. And I think that we also need to say, what is the unique attribute that we have? What are the unique experiences that we have here? And how do we apply the knowledge that is freely flowing now around the world to create value? So I think it probably is it's a confidence about our own the impact that we can create in the world. So we all have a role to do in that, right?
Every
single person on the African continent has an opportunity to go and tell that story on the world stages. And I think that's, maybe that should be Africa's purpose.
That should be Africa's purpose. I like that. And it's platforms like this where you get that opportunity to share that knowledge, share those ideas, and have the rest of the world coach you and give you feedback, right? Because we're not always right. It's just a point of view.
It's just a point of view.
And I think also, again, people put barriers of entry into it. I need a fancy camera, I need to have lights, I need to have fantastic technology to do this.
I mean, your rig is amazing. I mean, this is like, we're live.
We're live, and all it is a mobile phone that's streaming, right? So I think people need to take that out of their head and say, it's the content that matters. It's not so much about, what equipment are you using.
I mean, look at Nigerian music.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go to any major city around the world and and it's playing at peak times. And I like there's something in there. So I think the things that work most are when we are where we own our Africanness, and we are able to then apply that magic into the rest of the world. It's just, people appreciate it. I don't think we're good at pretending to be something we're not. Just like on an individual level. You're not gonna excel trying to be somebody else.
No, you won't.
So let's be ourselves and share that with the world.
Let's just be ourselves and let's share that story with the world. I think that's the way you put it. Africa's time to shine as an individual. It's time to shine as a brand. This is the opportunity we have. There's never been a time where the playing field has been level as it is right now. And if we don't take advantage of this opportunity right now, we have only ourselves to blame.
Absolutely. So,
all right. Anything else to say on the purpose side? Oh, I'm counting you in, definitely.
I think purpose is it's much deeper than just something that organizations do. I think that we need to try and find our purpose as a team, try and find your purpose as an individual, find your purpose as a family. You know, because it's something that just gives you so much strength, especially in the dark times. It gives you that thing to hang on to that is completely enduring. So I'm excited about the journey that I'm on within our own organization, and I'm excited about telling the story. I'm excited about sharing it and seeing other organizations do it. And it's a really great time to be alive, because we have something meaningful that we can contribute to society.
Well, thanks a lot, Abey. I've got so much I've learned from it. I'm not going to leave you hanging. Thank you very, very much for sharing these pearls of wisdom.
Awesome.
Folks, it's been wow. Yeah. How can I put this?
Thank you. Awesome.
Thank you for joining us online. Like I said, we're going to repost this. If you've got comments, you have an opportunity to share your feedback, your comments. I think learning is for everyone. Like you said, every day you get an opportunity to be a teacher and to be a student. So if